Hello again, everybody. This is going to be a voice recording or a video of a blog post that I did called Deep Fried Human Nuggets. I'm not certain where or when I first came across it, but a random statistic has embedded itself in my mind recently. The statistics makes me feel queasy and nauseous every time I think about it. It's this. Every year, 50 billion chickens are reared and slaughtered for human consumption globally. 50 billion. The question that I ask myself is whether it's worth it. Is humanity, as it stands now, what it is and what it does, is that worth 500 billion dead chickens per decade? Chicken meat is rapidly becoming the dominant foodstuff of globalism's mass man. Chicken is relatively cheap and easy to produce. All you really need is a warehouse the size of a football pitch with some UV lights and a few tons of grain, and you have a chicken meat processing plant. The verb process is key here. Very few chickens feel the sunlight or walk on grass. Instead, the steroids and growth hormones will do nature's work for it. The chicken will be boiled and pulped, then reformed into a high-protein budget food source for globalism's human population. The human population will itself then have sufficient energy to continue the process of production and consumption on behalf of global capital. The ideal broiler chicken reaches maturity within weeks and has so much meat on the breast it can hardly walk. Not that it'll have to walk anyway. It just stands and feeds until its throat is slit. In the West, we can look around us and see what globalism views as perfection in human production and consumption. Number one, the individual will be of mixed race background because he/she will then formulate its identity around consumer goods and synthetic fads rather than biology and genetics. 2. The individual will be allowed extreme forms of sexual liberation and perversions to give the pretense of freedom and to direct the individual's identity into a cul-de-sac of safe opposition which the system actually facilitates. 3. The individual will have an ideal IQ in the range of 85 to 100. They'll be smart enough to operate basic machinery and electronic equipment, but not high enough to formulate abstract thoughts and theories more complicated and dangerous than voting in a TV quiz or talent show. 4. The individual will hold money, making money and spending money over spiritual and religious matters. Muslims love their chicken too, and now halal slaughter as part of the process. Somewhere out in the world, poultry magnates are dreaming of the next generation of processed chickens. The ultimate in industrial chicken production will not be much more than a mouth, a gut and an anus contained within a sphere of pure meat. This year, Jewish intellectuals such as Steven Pinker and Jonah Goldberg have pumped out best-selling books telling us how fantastic humanity's progress has been since the Enlightenment. Humanity has never before enjoyed so much comfort, so much wealth, so much chicken. The free market has propelled humanity forwards into the lush green fields of reason and logic, individualism and liberal democracy. The driving goal behind all of it is material wealth, the ability to produce and consume, and that wealth can be measured by the individual's chicken-eating potential. If Norwegians or Americans are eating fewer chickens this year, but Cambodians are eating far more, then the sum total of human happiness has increased, and the system has proven itself valid and morally justified. Such circular, autistic logic pervades all political discussion in the West today. Identity politics, so-called, and nationalism are responses of one group feeling aggrieved that they have fewer chicken nuggets than in the past. So goes the narrative. People who dislike seeing themselves outnumbered on their own land by foreigners are simply useless slackers who can't compete in the chicken nugget consumption Olympics. Not that it matters. As noted above, the system is busy rearing a new breed to replace them anyway. In his essay, The Tarantula's Bite, Julius Evola wrote, quote, "The ethic summed up in the principle abstain et substain, abstain and endure, was once Western, just as it was the West that betrayed this ethic with a conception of life rather than keeping needs within natural limits with a view to the pursuit of what is truly worthy of human effort, instead made an ideal of the increase and artificial multiplication of needs, and hence also of the means to satisfy them, without regard for the ever-increasing slavery this implacably leads to, first for the individual, then for the community." For Evola, productive work was simply a means to an end. Man would attend the basic needs of his family through work, and then once that had been attained, he would involve himself in the true masculine pursuits of God, spirituality, art, beauty, and family. Of course, such pursuits are non-productive, and as such, all have been abolished. Family as an ideal is on life support. The means by which an authentic life could be lived and enjoyed have now become the end, the central driving force of all human life on earth. We are to the chickens as the chickens are to its grain, just the next step in a productive process. Of course, the Pinkers and Dawkins would scoff at such a remark. Human life is sacred, they argue, except when it isn't, except when they cheer on Irish women gaining the right to slaughter their babies in the womb. Global capital likes abortion because it keeps women trapped in the role of hedonistic, self-obsessed units rather than mothers. And of course, child rearing takes time and precedence over production, so the babies have to go just as the 50 billion chickens do. And so, to answer my question at the beginning of this article, is it worth it? No, it isn't, is it? Furthermore, I would put the question to the system's intellectual gatekeepers, what's the point of it all? If raising living standards for humans entails the extinction of the European race and reducing humanity to battery fodder, then what is the point in raising the material wealth of humans in the first place? What is it all for? It is taken as axiomatic that the life of a hen wandering afield on a farm is better than the life of a hen in a meat processing plant. Yet how then is the life of a mixed-race lesbian injecting herself with testosterone better than the life of a farmer's wife in rural Victorian England? We are not heading toward any sunny uplands of comfort and equality. We are heading toward the commodification of all life on Earth. It spreads like a grey ooze across the planet. It isn't worth it. It's hell in a bucket of drumsticks. Thank you for listening, everybody, and I'll see you later.